Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. This is the Seattle Area Independent Schools Virtual College Summit. This session is STEM at liberal arts colleges. We're very excited that you're here today. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off. Therefore, the panelists cannot see or hear you. We hope you've been enjoying the different presentations as a part of the Virtual College Summit. And we hope that you'll sign up for and view other sessions as well. This session, like all sessions, are being recorded and will be available on the same page where you registered in about a week. I'd now like to turn it over to our facilitators and panel. And I'd like to welcome Kate Ascari from the Overlake School, who will be leading us today. Kate, take it away.
Hi all, welcome. You've made it. This is the final session of the Virtual College Summit hosted by the Seattle Area Independent Schools, and we are delighted you are joining us here today. We're going to begin by a few introductions, both from the Overlake School team that is moderating and hosting this panel, as well as the panelists that are featured here today. We look forward to our conversation with you. So without further ado, my name is Kate Ascari from the Overlake School, and I'm going to have my other colleagues introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Tanya Cummings. I'm also from the Overlake School.
Hi everyone, my name is Regina Kiban, also from the Overlake School.
So Tanya and Regina and I will be moderating the Q&A chat, making sure that questions you are raising are being shared with our panelists here today. And here to answer any questions that may be more school specific. But the majority of our conversation is going to focus on this fantastic panel we have gathered. And I'm going to toss it to each one of you as panelists to introduce yourself and the school that you are from.
Hi everyone, I'm Robin Bowers. I'm from Kenyon College in Gambier, Ohio.
Hi, I'm Susie Hanks from Union College in Schenectady, New York.
Hi, I'm Maureen Pine from Smith College in beautiful Northampton, Mass.
Hi all, my name is Kate Applegate. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a Senior Assistant Dean of Admission at Wesleyan University in Middletown, Connecticut. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi everyone, my name is Juan Perez. I work at Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas.
Fantastic, thanks all. Well, we're here to talk about STEM at liberal arts colleges, and we wanted to kick off this conversation with a chance for each one of the panelists that are here today to talk a little bit about distinct features that a STEM at a liberal arts college provides, and some that may be specific to their institution. So in no specific order, whoever feels like being voluntold to begin, take it away.
I can be first if
Thank you, Robin.
I'll jump in. I'm not scared. So I think, there's a million things that I think you could use this question to answer. I think specifically because I'm from Kenyon and we're known as the Writers College, I really want to highlight the opportunity to not leave your writing career behind when you study STEM. At Kenyon, we actually have an initiative in science writing in particular. Our faculty have developed team taught courses in English and different humanities partnered with the sciences. And they come together in a class to learn about how to craft compelling narratives and tell stories about science. And I think that particularly this last year has shown us how very, very important that is. At Kenyon, we really believe that good thinking is good writing and good writing is good thinking, and you can't have one without the other. If you're sitting in your research lab and aren't able to get the news out about your wonderful research, then we don't think that it's as good of a use of your time. So I think we've really taken our love of writing and our belief in it to a different level at Kenyon, and I'd invite all of you to think about liberal arts, not just for what you can do in terms of science, but how the other pieces of the liberal arts curriculum will accentuate and bring out your science discoveries.
Robin, I'll just jump off of that. At Wesleyan, I think we take a really interdisciplinary approach to learning across the curriculum. And I think, the liberal arts really harkens back to the Greek philosophy of educating the whole person. And I think at Wesleyan, we really believe that you can't cut off one part of the human experience and be successful, in sort of lifelong learning. And that really, extends itself into the sciences at Wesleyan. And so, many of the programs that you'll see in addition to, biology and chemistry and neuroscience and mathematics at Wesleyan and the sciences, you'll see, the College of Integrated Sciences and the Science and Society program. And even psychology is considered a natural science at Wesleyan. So, we really believe that the liberal arts is good preparation for, being able to think critically, speak articulately, write eloquently, problem solve creatively, and work collaboratively. And that preparation in the sciences is especially important. As Robin said, this year has been a great sort of reminder of that importance, and that, science impacts, politics and economics and our, sociological, interactions in ways that, we might not even have realized before this year. So I think studying STEM at a liberal arts college gives you that opportunity to really study interdisciplinarily and connect across disciplines in important ways.
So I'll jump in and I'll kind of take that another step further. So, at Union College, for instance, we are one of a small handful of schools that offer ABET accredited engineering programs within the liberal arts. And so we really firmly believe that when students are studying across disciplines, as both Kate and Robin mentioned, and you're taking those writing intensive courses and you're learning how to speak with people from all different academic disciplines and interact with them and solve problems and be working with someone who's studying something very differently or different than you are, you're learning how to communicate and like Kate said, kind of relay what you are doing in that biology lab or in that mechanical engineering lab and be able to articulate it to people who are not studying those areas. And so, at Union, we always talk about creating students who are going to lead in emerging fields across disciplines. So, we see those students who are majoring in the sciences 10 years down the road are in very different fields, but they had that science background. And they've learned how to work with people from all different fields. And they're going into and working in jobs that when they were in college didn't ever even exist, but they know how to kind of evolve as the years are going on. And so we really feel like that integration of academic programs is so crucial to what the students are getting out of the STEM fields at Union.
I think one of the amazing things about a liberal arts education is that it goes beyond what you choose as a major. A liberal arts education really teaches you how to learn. And that learning doesn't stop after you get your degree. Learning will happen every year, probably for the rest of your life. And when you're in grad school, or when you are at your first job or second job, continuing to learn, continue to evolve, continue to adapt, continue to work with others, and that working with others, collaboration, that is traditionally to be expected at liberal arts universities is an amazing benefit and amazing skills that a liberal arts university, liberal arts education gives you.
I'd like to piggyback on all the comments already made. I'm not sure how much more I have to offer on that. But we certainly at Smith is a women's college. We're the largest women's college in the country, and we are actually the first women's college to have an ABET accredited engineering program, something which we're very proud of. And we feel very, that it's very much our mission to make sure that women and marginalized communities have the chance and the opportunities to study STEM fields and persist in STEM fields. That's something we think that's a little bit unique to what we do. But again, echoing what everyone else says, liberal arts really make to be educated in the liberal arts means that you're going to learn how to communicate well, you're going to learn to think critically, you're going to learn to be an agile person so that you're not studying just one area that's going to dictate the rest of your life decisions. You're going to be able to change and go into different fields of study and go into different occupations. And these are crucial skills that employers are looking for all over the world. And no matter what field you're studying, the liberal arts will prepare you because you're going to be able to be that agile, critical thinker who can communicate and make good decisions that impact everything that we do.
It always helps when you turn your mute button off. I wanted to jump in here and say we are beginning to get some questions from all of you. I want to make sure in my mind all of the panelists got a chance to say something. So I'd love, Tanya, for you or Regina, for you to weigh in with a question, but continue if you have questions and you are out there listening, feel free to put them in at any point. We'll weave them into the conversation today.
Sure, we do have a question from the audience. The question is, what is your institution doing to increase representation of BIPOC students?
Yeah, Tanya, I'll jump in here. So I think, first of all, at least at Wesleyan, we are a predominantly white institution, and we recognize that, that's our history, and that, part of our responsibility as an institution that, is now admitting and enrolling and really wants to see, diversity in all its forms within our community, that, we can't just want that diversity, but we need to be supporting that access and also that inclusion across disciplines. So, there are a lot of different initiatives, and I could take this in a lot of different directions. But one of the programs that we have at Wesleyan in the sciences is called WesMath, Wesleyan Math and Science Scholars, which is for traditionally underrepresented students studying in STEM, whether that be women or people of color. And that program starts, prior to your first year, with typically an on-campus program. This summer it went virtual. But really understanding how to get involved in research in STEM, how to access the resources on campus and connect with professors to be involved in research, and is a 2-year program to help students really find opportunities for research in the sciences and get involved in undergraduate research and connect with, mentors and professors that identify as people of color or, as a minority in STEM. And so I think that that's sort of one example, but I think there is still more work to be done. And I don't want to claim that we're perfect in any way, but that is one of the programs that's happening at Wesleyan and has been a longstanding program within the community.
Any other examples?
Yeah,
Sure.
Go ahead, whoever that was.
That was me. Sorry, Robin. Yeah, at Smith, again, I can echo a lot of what Kate said. We are a predominantly white institution, but inclusivity and having diverse communities on our campus is of utmost importance to us. To help the students specifically who are interested in the STEM fields, we have a program called AIMS, which is Achieving Excellence in Math, Engineering, and Science. And this is a program, again, 2-year program. You're going to start having the opportunity to do research with a professor from day one of that program, which is a pretty amazing opportunity. There's a lot of peer mentorship involved. And again, the same access that Kate was talking to learn how to do research, to have research opportunities, and to have the mentorship that you would need.
Yeah, we have a similar program at Kenyon. We have $1 million grant from the Howard Hughes Institute, and it's exactly to do the things that Kate and Maureen have talked about. It's called the STEM Scholars Program, and the only thing that sounds maybe a little different is that it does provide every STEM scholar with a loan-free package, as well as research seed money and technology support. So there's that. And I would just say, in terms of liberal arts colleges, one of the things that you're going to get at any place, I think, is closer and more frequent access to faculty and an easier entree into research opportunities. Because our lab to student ratio in physics, which is one of our top programs, is like 6 students to 1 lab. So right away you can start working on a research project. And if you think about just in terms of size and the nature of teaching that goes on at liberal arts colleges, I would just feel remiss if I didn't point that out, I think, as an advantage for any sort of underserved population, because the barriers to access it are just going to be a lot lower, I think, in our all of our schools.
Any other follow-ups before we consider other questions?
Kate, I do also just want to jump in here and mention there aren't just opportunities. We all talk about finding opportunities as an undergraduate in research and opportunities for historically underrepresented students in the sciences, but I think it's also important to mention that advising and support for finding postgraduate opportunities in, research in the sciences, within the BIPOC community. One of the options at Wesleyan, one of the opportunities is the McNair post-bac program, and I think that I can speak a little bit more about that, but really it's about, first gen or low income students or, BIPOC students as well, finding post-bac opportunities in research and receiving scholarship funding for those opportunities. And that's both through, professors and connecting with faculty in the sciences, but also through, our Career Center as well.
Perhaps we've glossed over it, but I'm thinking on the front end, before a student even gets to college, might some of you talk about what used to be fly-in programs, but maybe what are digital now, the fly-in or drive-in program, but for that prospective student that's trying to understand the fit and the feel of a place, particularly in this case today, if they're interested in STEM at the liberal arts. Can some of you talk a little bit about what those programs look like and how a student would go about accessing one?
Well, so, at Union, and I'm sure at most other liberal arts colleges, we do typically run a couple programs during the fall. It is an application process that students will typically have to apply about a month to 3 weeks before the program. Like Kate said, we are typically wanting to have students on campus because obviously that is the way to get the best feel for the environment and the community that you would be a part of. And this year we've turned those into virtual programs. So trying to provide them with those same connections. So, the student panel, the faculty engagement, things that really obviously are special at, I'm sure, all of our institutions, that sense of community. And we're still trying to relay that to the students and make them feel like they will be a part. I think the other thing that I'm sure I'm going to speak with, for all my colleagues here, is that being at a smaller school, our faculty members love to speak with prospective students. And so if you have, questions as a prospective student and you want to talk to someone in the, chemistry department or the environmental science department, reach out to the people in the admissions office. We are happy to coordinate that. And I will promise you, our professors love to talk about their research and they love to talk about what's going on in their department. So don't be afraid of that. Just kind of let us know what would help you make that decision and find out all the information that you need to. And we will be happy to do that.
And not just connecting with professors, but we're happy to connect you with other current students. And current students are a really, really great resource to give you a very candid, very honest opinion of their experience and a glimpse of what it is it's going to be like to go to whatever college you're exploring. So definitely take advantage of that. Take advantage of trying to talk and connect with professors and current students.
I'd love to underscore. Did I step on someone here? Oh, okay. I'd like to underscore the point too of, in addition to faculty, in addition to current students, the admission officers you're meeting today, the many that you'll meet over the course of your college search, that's a relationship you build. And not only can they just find information, but they're really trying to understand your school. They're really trying to understand the communities you come from. And it's worthy of your time. There are humans on the other side reading these applications who care deeply about your stories. And this many years later, we are still talking about essays that moved us. We are still talking about that amazing high school visit. And who knew that we would miss high school visits and schlepping boxes back and forth. But those relationships matter and will make a difference in your search, will personalize it in a way that nothing on the interwebs is going to teach you. And so to really dig in to learn these institutions, many of the people here either attended institutions that are represented, and many of us in admission worked at one institution or went to one institution and worked at a completely different institution. Or if you've been at it as long as some of us, many institutions. And so we have a lot of perspective to offer. The college counselors that you work with at your high schools, many of them come from admission, and met many of the people here on the other side of the desk. And so as you think about this, know that there are people, not just at your high school, but certainly out at these colleges that care deeply about not just enrolling you, but helping you find a fit, because that means 4 years or more, if you do more schooling, of an experience at a college or university that is more than just getting a degree. So let's transition, Tanya and Regina, to maybe more questions that are bubbling up. If there are more questions or questions that are on your mind that you'd like to ask the panel.
Sure. There is another question. It seems that there is much less nuance in discussion on college campuses today. Things are very binary. In what ways do students learn to see the gray and not just the black and white on complex social topics?
You hear us thinking.
I think that that is, this is one of the places where I would love for everyone to be able to visit schools, because I think that can be an important piece of the culture at a school. But I would say that you need to kind of look at the types of events that are happening on that college campus. That's going to tell you some things, to see if there's space to hear different types of viewpoints. I think a lot of colleges are sort of on a spectrum, and in terms of how the culture is going to allow different viewpoints or sort of narrate those back to each other. At Kenyon, I would say one of our most popular student groups is called Bridge Kenyon, and it's essentially seeing that the students in it see themselves as this bridge between different types, different ends of the spectrum in terms of viewpoints and politics, and the whole point of it is to really get together and debate, and that's something that is very much, discourse is very much a part of our culture at Kenyon, in ways that I think are very much informed by our location. We're in the middle of Ohio, so right now, I can't walk down a street without being assaulted by 45 political signs on each yard, of all different viewpoints. So those are a couple of things that I would look for. Look at what kind of events are happening, look at the student organizations. But I think anywhere you go, you're going to find a lot of gray.
I think looking into the diversity of a university is really important too. And just digging down a little bit deeper and seeing what that diversity really means. That's beyond just racial and ethnic. That is beyond just geographic diversity. Look for diversity in the student body. Look for diversity in the faculty. Look for socioeconomic diversity, religious diversity, political diversity, because all of those things make up individual people that are far from black and white, and everyone's in that gray area. And I think most of our campuses here, or all of our campuses here, are highly residential, and that residential environment allows you to connect with people who you probably wouldn't have crossed paths with otherwise, when you're in the cafeteria, when you're at the gym, when you're attending clubs and organizations. So a lot of times the social topics, these discussions, don't happen in a heated debate. They happen, you're just having breakfast with someone, and you just all of a sudden realize that you just learned something, a new lesson, or a different point of view. So pay attention to that diversity, beyond just the diversity that you immediately think you want.
It's really, sorry, Kate, I'm just trying to tell a little story. So we have a president who started at Union. He just started his 3rd year. And in his inauguration speech at Union, he was talking about the importance of constructive engagement and really listening and hearing perspectives that are different from your own. And so he made it a Union College challenge that people reach beyond. People become comfortable being uncomfortable. And he has stayed true to that mission. And so, for instance, we just had a program on constructive engagement just last week on gun control. And so there was a pro-gun person from the NRA, and then an anti-gun advocate. And it was an open discussion, and it was wonderful to see the students, the faculty, the staff just listening and trying to engage. And I think, like both Robin and Juan said, all of the clubs and activities that you'll see at smaller schools, they're open to anyone. They want people to come so that they can kind of hear what, the different clubs and organizations are presenting. And I think that's important. Like when you are looking at a college, you want to find that, but also once you arrive on campus, take advantage of all these things that are going on, because that's how you will better yourself and really be more open to things.
Yeah, I think sort of to build on what everyone has said is that I think that the liberal arts is really what this is all about, right? Is seeing things as great. And I think that the benefit of attending a liberal arts college, so, as Robin mentioned, Ohio is politically diverse. I'm from Ohio originally. I'm from a really tiny town with, more cornfields than people. And I think one of the benefits of going to a liberal arts college not only is that you're getting together, at Wesleyan, we've got just under 3,000 undergraduates from all these different backgrounds and life experiences, but I think attending a liberal arts college is also understanding that, part of going to college is constructing your own identity and what it means to, ask questions, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. And I think, the benefit of being in a small community is that you're surrounded by individuals who have, made the choice to be a part of that community and want to be challenged and want to, have those opportunities for growth and, to ask those questions, to learn from the people around them. So I think that it's almost easier at a liberal arts college, because there's only 3,000 undergraduates, you almost are never going to be sitting in a room with people that are doing the exact same things that you are, right? So that sort of ability to see things outside of that black and white is almost forced upon you in certain ways because just of the nature of the community that you've joined.
Thank you all. In the interest of time and taking on, we have a few more questions that we'd like to weave in. Tanya, do you want to ask the next question?
Sure. This is some of a 2-part question for the audience. I'm sorry, for the panel. What are the disadvantages and advantages of a liberal arts STEM education as opposed to a traditional BS degree? And looking at the big research schools and the smaller schools such as yourselves, how is it advantageous for a student to pursue STEM at a smaller school?
I think there's lots of advantages for students who are pursuing STEM at a smaller school. I think Robin mentioned it before, but access to your professors and the opportunities to work and do serious research, sometimes starting as early as your first year, it's pretty remarkable. And oftentimes a large research opportunity, you may be working with the graduate student who's working with the professor. At our schools, you're going to have that opportunity to engage in that kind of research with the professor directly, and that access is amazing. And I will say that I think on our campus, and I'm sure the other campuses as well, our professors, yes, they do research, yes, they publish books, but they are really student-centered. And they're there to really enhance our students' academic experience. And part of that is offering these fantastic ways to get involved in research. And students will often be published before they graduate. I know at Smith, over 1/3 of the papers that were published by faculty in our sciences actually were co-authored by students. That's a really big thing that you might not have a chance to do at a larger university. So there's really all kinds of advantages, I think, to studying STEM in a smaller university or a smaller college.
Yeah, I think I've been waiting to say this all evening, so I'm just going to more into this question. So this year we found out this summer that Kenyon has, I would put this under the heading of the proof is in the pudding, I think. And we have 3 Goldwater scholars. So those of you this year alone. So we are always high in the country in terms of Goldwater scholars, but to have 3, there's a little under 400. I think there's 396 in the country this year, and we have 3 of them. And for those of you who don't know, the Goldwater Scholarship is the, I think, most prestigious undergraduate research award in the nation for science scholars. And I say this as someone who, I'm not just bragging about my school. I guarantee you that all of these colleges produce large numbers of gold scholars as well. We're also 8th in the country for STEM graduates, the proportion of STEM graduates who go on to add or to earn a doctorate in STEM. And I am also confident that all of these colleges, if they're not above us, they're somewhere around there. And who is not above us in any of those is any single Ivy League college. So I just say that I usually don't like quoting a lot of stats, but I think those are a few that get some people's attention. And I just don't think, I mean, I'm biased. I'm sure there's a disadvantage somewhere, but I just think you're going to get top-notch access to people who are doing amazing, amazing research. And you are starting your career as a researcher so much earlier than people who are at bigger schools who are not even going to see the lab until they're a grad student with the major projects that are going on. So I think that it's just kind of an unparalleled opportunity.
The other thing that I would like to add to that is that at a smaller school, we have always all said that our professors are doing research. They're getting, National Science Foundation grants. They're getting grants from the National Institutes of Health. The instrumentation at our schools are fantastic, and the facilities, and those instruments are used by the undergraduate students. So, perfect example, we have a chemistry professor. She's showing us this piece of equipment. And she goes, I didn't touch this until I was in my PhD program. And we have our first year students who are working this. We don't have the lab techs running the samples. The students are doing it. So when the students are then applying to graduate programs or going into their first jobs, they have been exposed to these pieces of equipment and these instruments that they will be working with. And so, not having those graduate students there really makes a difference for what these students are experiencing.
I do just want to say that, I always hate when we are given a question about advantages and disadvantages and only answer the advantages. So I do want to say that I think, a liberal arts college might not be for you if you are only interested in studying science, right? If you are only interested in taking classes within one specific program and really just diving deep into that and not if you don't have interest in studying across the curriculum and don't think that there's a benefit to that, then a liberal arts education might be a disadvantage for you. So I do just want to, I think that we all see the advantage, and I really believe that it's better on a lot of fronts to study at a liberal arts college, study STEM at a liberal arts college. But I do just, for those of you that want a disadvantage, I would say that that's one.
Kate, that's such a good point. That's a great point. And, I think there's also a sense that you're probably not going to you can get as specific as you want in your research, but, you're probably not going to find a class like on a specific type of polymer or something like that at a liberal arts college, so I forgot to mention one of our Goldwater scholars was from Seattle, which made my heart really happy.
Maybe one of the SAIS schools, who knows? We'll have to do some research, get some data, Robin. I think also to dig into this, if we could maybe step back, I think we're kind of talking around it, but a perception that pops up a lot in conversations is this idea that size small means less. And so I think we haven't addressed it specifically, but could each of you speak to that perception, because it is the perceived disadvantage, whether it's real or not, I don't know that we've named that, and I think it's worthy of a little exploration.
I think it's a really, really good point, because typically when you're looking at a large research institution, the opportunities at first glance might seem plenty. There are more opportunities, but you're also competing with thousands and thousands of students for those opportunities. Oftentimes at smaller liberal arts universities, number of us, if you're just looking at a plain number, yeah, maybe there are less opportunities, but there are much less students too. So the opportunity for a particular student to do research is much higher. For example, at Trinity, we have paid research, and every summer we pay students $4,000 to do research for 10 weeks on campus. And one of the big questions that we get is, how competitive is that? And the answer is not that competitive. If you want to do it, you have the opportunity to do that. We have over 400 students every summer doing research on campus, each of them getting that stipend. And we have 2,500 students on campus total. So yeah, while at first glance the opportunities might seem less, they're much more accessible.
I would just add to the conversation about professors, right? All of our professors are incredible in their research, right? But they have a lot of choice, right? But they've chosen to be at our institutions because they want to work with undergraduates. They want that connection, and they're looking for a community, where they can foster that interest in research. And so I think, as you're thinking about, the opportunities to, conduct research or just take classes and connect with professors, every single professor at Wesleyan is required to hold office hours, right? So, that ability just to stop by someone's office and ask them questions. I was talking to a student, who actually graduated a couple years ago, and she said, I was interested in getting involved in neuroscience research, and there was a professor doing research on addiction, both to alcohol, drugs, and junk food and gambling. And she said, I just wanted to have a conversation with him, and he was happy to sit down with me, for an hour and just talk to me about his research. She said, about halfway through, I realized he was asking me more questions than I was asking him. And the next thing I know, he's inviting me to work in his lab, right? But I think that's, what we're talking about, right? Is that, you build that community that provides mentorship, that provides opportunities to get involved in research. And so she did that research for her sophomore year, and then they used the RAP model, and she decided she was done with RAPs. So moved into a human decision-making lab in our psychology department, right? So I think that's also important, right? Is that the flexibility at a liberal arts college to, be in multiple labs or conduct research across multiple areas or work with multiple professors, that's also much greater because, again, of the size. But I think, there's also just this real focus on putting funding into, research opportunities into the undergraduate experience, because we're already undergraduate focused, right? So whereas at a graduate or at a larger university, most of the professor's time is going to be working with PhD students and master's degree students, because they're sort of up against it, trying to finish master's thesis work or defend a dissertation. At a liberal arts college, they're there for the undergraduate experience and are there to connect with undergraduates.
I'd like to chime in real quickly, just as the only representative of a women's college here. At women's college, I feel like saying that smaller is actually better for our young women. We actually 40% of our undergraduates major in STEM fields, and that's really unheard of. That's double the rate at almost any other college of women who major in the STEM field. So that's something that's really special about Smith. And that's because of access, but it's also because of mentoring, and it's also because of role models. 50% of the faculty in STEM are female. We all know that there's been a dearth of opportunities for women in a lot of the STEM fields. And for a young woman to come to a school like Smith and to feel that support and that encouragement and that mentorship and see those role models is an incredible opportunity. And in this instance, I think this is a less is more kind of situation.
Nice. All right, we are getting toward the end of our time together, but we promised the panel, I think these conversations end up pretty wide ranging, and we just want to take a moment to give each of you as panelists time to think about something that maybe didn't come up today that you'd like to share, or something that did come up that you'd like to underscore as students, juniors that are really diving into their college search, and seniors who are trying to identify not only applications but where they might go, should be thinking about. So is there anyone who'd like to begin?
Kate, are you gonna go?
Go for it, Susan.
Okay, I just have two things to say. That one we kind of touched on, one we did not. So when you're at a liberal arts college, for instance, at Union, 50% of the students study in the STEM field, 50% study in the humanities and social sciences, but 80% of our students are pursuing more than one academic program. So the liberal arts colleges are the type of place that you can be majoring in electrical engineering but still be taking the language, or studying neuroscience but still be taking economics classes. So that integration of academic programs, I think, is so special at a liberal arts program. Second thing that none of us touched on and we didn't get a question is study abroad programs. So about 60% of our students study abroad at some point. Talk about understanding different perspectives and just being immersed in another culture and the learning experience that you have. And that includes 80% of our engineering students. So those experiences, are so beneficial for the students, especially in this global world we live in now, where you will probably, everyone who graduates from college now will probably have some interaction with a job or a company overseas. And so to have those experiences are so important. And the flexibility within your academic program at a liberal arts college allows students, whatever your undergraduate major is, to have those experiences studying abroad.
Yeah, I would just add, in terms of the interdisciplinary nature of, studying STEM at a liberal arts college, I think it also extends itself far beyond the classroom, right? So I think about, one of our current seniors, Brittany, who, in addition to being a physics-focused College of Integrative Sciences major, studying, and doing a senior thesis right now that encompasses policy analysis and theoretical micro or economics and her tech background into sort of her thesis work. She's also the coordinator of, our North Korean refugee project on campus. She's a finance manager for one of our largest dance showcases, and she's been the co-chair of our West Democrats group. So I think that, there are really these opportunities, and I don't think that we chatted that much about this, just to be involved across multiple areas. And I think one of the biggest benefits of studying STEM at a liberal arts college is that you have a chance to be a whole person and not just have studying STEM be what defines you. It can be what defines you if that's what you choose, but you have this flexibility and these opportunities across the community to be defined by much more than that. So I think, my plea to you as you go through this process and as you're thinking about, how to find that fit is to really think about what you value and what's important to you, and how these institutions and which colleges you're searching for and looking at fit your values and fit the things that you're looking for, and really find a place that you're going to have a lot of fun in addition to being challenged and having opportunities to grow over your 4 years.
So I would just like to say, first of all, thanks to SAIS and our different schools for having us. All of students out there, I assume you're watching. This is really weird that we can't see any of you. But this is, I think, been a great program. And I know the other topics were also really, really helpful for all of you, I'm sure. So in light of that, my piece of advice is to listen to your counselors. Your counselors have worked with you and seen you grow for 4 years. You have got some of the best in the business at all of these schools, and they are going to help you understand whether you are a prospective English major or neuroscience or physics or math or anything. They're going to help you understand what kind of school is going to fit you best. And just like Kate was saying, your college search needs to be about who you are and who you want to be as a person, not just your career, not just your major. In reference to STEM, never think that you can't do high-level science work at a liberal arts college. I hope that this panel has convinced you of that. But in terms of the type of institution you're going to fit at and where you are going to be successful, your counselor is going to help you understand how you learn best. And I would venture a guess that a lot of you are going to feel really good at a liberal arts college because we know the types of schools and the type of education you're getting at these particular secondary schools that you go to. And that's the kind of attention and education you're going to get at a liberal arts school. But don't just listen to them and then let all that knowledge go out and forget it when you start to put together your college applications. Actually really trust them because they're really going to help you with this process.
I'll just say, take a little bit of time to do some self-reflection and think about what you like and what's going to be a good environment for you, and do some honest reflection, because I mean, we could talk to you for 2 more hours about the benefits, the strengths of a liberal arts education. If that's not the learning environment that you're interested in, if you don't want to participate in class, if going to class is not something that you're really interested, you will be just as happy looking at a recording. If you want a really large university, that's okay. So take a little bit of time and do some self-reflection. But if you are going to be successful at a liberal arts university, I hope that you are very, very confident that the level of education, whether it's in STEM or in the humanities, is going to be absolutely phenomenal.
Maureen, did you get a chance to share any final thoughts?
I didn't, but everyone else has captured it so well. The one thing I would say is that I think the beauty of a liberal arts education is it's a chance for you to explore, a chance for you to explore your different interests. So many students will come in thinking they want to study one thing, and then they'll take a class in a completely different area and just be turned on to that, and you'll end up majoring in it. I can't tell you how many times I'll hear a student say, I'm going to be a pre-med major, and they come in and they end up as a philosophy major or an economics major. And that's great. And that's what it's all about, right? Coming to college, if you know exactly what you want to do, that's great. And you may want to go to a program that's going to buzz you right through that and to that end goal. But if you're not sure, and how many of you are sure at 17 or 18 years old what you want to study? I'm not sure what I want to do still, and I'm way older than that. So, I really would encourage you, if you are looking at liberal arts colleges, to see them as places where you can explore and where you don't necessarily have to give up one thing that you're passionate about to pursue something else you're passionate about. You usually can do more than one thing, and that's exciting. So I would encourage you to think about it that way as well.
On that note, and on behalf of Overlake, I want to make sure, I think, yes, we did get everyone. On that note, and on behalf of Overlake and all of the Seattle area independent schools, we are so grateful for the exploration that each one of you as counselors at your colleges offer students that we work with. We know they're in good hands. To those of you that are students and parents listening today, we hope that this has been time well spent, and we wish you the journey that lies ahead. There is so much to look forward to. We're going to conclude with a few remarks by Jennifer from StriveScan. So I'm going to go ahead and transition to her now, but on behalf of all of us, thank you for your time today and for joining the Seattle Area Independent School College Summit this year.
Thank you so much for all of the information, to our facilitators, to the panelists. We really appreciate it. We won't see each other at the conclusion of this, so just thank you so much for the work you do with students and the impact that you make. And thank you to everyone who attended and spent time this afternoon. We hope that you really enjoyed this presentation, as well as all of the other presentations that have been a part of the Seattle Area Independent Schools Virtual College Summit today. At the conclusion of this, when you close the slide, there will be 4 quick questions for you to answer. We'd appreciate any feedback that you have to share with us. And we, again, hope you enjoyed the sessions today. This session, like the others, has been recorded. And in about a week's time, you will find these session recordings at the website where you registered. We hope that you will take the time to watch it again and learn anything new, or to be able to see presentations you may not have been able to attend earlier in the programming. So again, thank you to everyone for spending your time with us this Sunday. We appreciate it, and good night.
Thank you.